Call Mike.
What is up, dude?
Hi, Mike.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Good.
Glad
Good.
to glad to get a hold of you.
Absolutely, man. No problems. I'm stoked you did.
Well, I've been watching a lot about you lately, with your board giveaways and all the stuff you're doing for the skateboard community, man. And I appreciate the hell out of it. It's stuff that I always get into.
Absolutely, man. So stoked we're able to do it, and we're in a position where we can do that, man, for sure. That's so awesome. I love doing it too, man. I love giving back and giving people a chance to fall in love like I did.
Yeah, me too. I love skateboarding so much. It's such a part of my life.
For
And
sure, man. For
to see
sure.
somebody like you, how you're coming up in your journey is just so cool. So stoked
Thank you,
on
brother.
everything that I see.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
One thing I got to get right out the way is I'm a huge fan of a 360 ollie kickflip, and it seems like you've been doing these big fat ones everywhere. I appreciate the hell out of that. That's such a great trick, and you have it dialed to where it's so fun to watch. I believe I just seen one you did with a double kickflip.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love that too, man. It's a slight foot change for me. And so like I kind of try to play with both of them so I'm not just like overdoing one.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, it's such a weird thing like it's a slight foot movement and then a downward kick instead of a outward kick.
right on,
And
right
and
on.
that's what makes it happen.
That's awesome. There's so much stuff I want to go over with some of the tricks you've been doing and your sponsors. The last video I watched of you, you were skating a lot of blank boards and flight decks.
Right, right.
And I was like, the flight decks I get because I believe you're 6'5"
Yes.
and
Correct.
around 200 pounds. So
Yeah. That's right on the
that's
money.
that's a big boy for boards. So
Yeah, for
I can
sure.
understand a flight. Uh,
Right.
are there any? I know you're skating. You said something about Altamont was sending you product. Is there anything set in stone for you right now that we can see?
So, Altamont, man, Altamont, I haven't spoke with them in a couple months. But I don't think they've been doing much of anything with their social media, which
Right.
is obviously how like I communicate with them and everything for the most part. But yeah, last I spoke with them, everything was cool with that. Acid Wheels is hooking me up with some wheels. That is the coolest thing right now, man. I love Acid Wheels. I love everything they're doing for me. John over there is great, man. He takes care of me. Glenn is great over there. So I'm just thankful to have all those guys, over there
Yeah.
doing that. Um, we have Makeshift, who I went out there to Texas and Corpus Christi with, and
Yeah.
that's who we did the giveaway with. And that actually was, like I said, Makeshift took care of that, and they had some sponsors hop on in on that, which was like Ace Trucks and Barry's Bearings, a couple other people. For me personally, I'm riding for Hump Bearings. I don't know if you've ever
Right.
heard of
Yeah.
Hump, but that's who
I
I'm
watched
riding
your
for.
part on there, and I do skateboard collecting, so I have a little bit of everything.
I hear that, man. That's so sick. So you got
I'm
the
about
knowledge
to.
of everything too. That's awesome.
Uh,
I love that.
there's so much with having boards, collecting boards, finding out the artistry behind it. It's not just having a plank of wood in your corner. Here, I got one right here. Let's see what I got right here.
Oh, not a sport. Wow.
Big,
That's
not
so
a
sick,
strange
dude.
love. It's like a 10-inch. I always keep my good ones right beside me for, I have separation anxiety.
I get that completely. That's sick though, man. That's a sick one.
I see that you've been doing a lot with your music, uh,
Yeah.
and appreciative music. I've listened to a few of your tracks, and you're just dropping one,
Yes.
and that's
So,
exciting. Tell us a
yeah,
little bit
man.
about that.
So I'm stoked on that. It's coming out Friday, the 15th.
15th.
And we've actually had this one in the chamber for a minute, but we were just not like ready to release it to the public yet. Especially with like everything that we're doing with the Tony Hawk contest and the things like that. It just didn't make sense for me to be promoting anything else at the time but what I needed to, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
music is a hobby for
Mhm.
sure for me. I mean, I would love, for anything that I love to do to become more than a hobby. But
I've been
as of right
sneaking
now,
it in. I've been sneaking all your stuff into, my sessions.
oh
So
yeah, I
my
appreciate it,
friends
man.
don't know exactly who it is, but they keep asking me. And
That's
so,
sick.
by the time I get it stuck in their head, we're gonna be listening to your stuff all the time.
There we go, man. That's so rad, dude. Thank you so much, brother.
Well, sometimes I get, to choose some of the, music at the park too, so, it's always good to throw one of your songs on, you
I
know?
appreciate that, man.
I'm really hyped for the drop too. I like the way that you integrate your skateboarding into your songs. The one you did with Conscious was you got so many good ones.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That you got so many. It's such a cool style to your verse and to your boarding, man. Your skateboarding, and I wasn't gonna try to make this so much about the Tony Hawk uh contest, even
Understood
though
completely.
I'm sure you went through a billion questions of that already, but just for a recap of people that don't know, you beat out 60,000 people.
That was the crazy thing, and we didn't know that completely at first. We thought it was like 35,000 or something like that, and they actually had to start checking into it because the news wanted to do some articles and like things like that, and they're like, "Well, let's see how many there actually were," and that's when we ended up finding out it was 60,000.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, man, wild
Yeah, just to have him on your corner's got to be amazing that he's thinking about you and watching your stuff.
for
Just
sure, man.
I don't
That's
even know
the
what to think about that. It's crazy.
That's the guy, right? Like when you think of skateboarding, even if you're not a skateboarder and you think of skateboarding, you think Tony Hawk, you know? So
Sure,
it's
absolutely.
it's it's everybody thinks about that dude, you know? So it is sick to know that sometimes he's got time to check it out and see what I got going on. That is super cool. And it was super nice meeting the dude too as well, man. You know, somebody who's that successful with something that you love, like right in
Yeah,
front of you was wild. You know, it's
th-
it's
yeah.
almost unreal.
That acknowledgment's amazing, but we can't forget the fact that you made that happen. You
Thank you.
made that happen.
That was everybody too, man. I like to give credit where it's due, and I know I couldn't have done it solo, man. And
Right, right
I'm
on.
thankful that everybody thought that I was the guy. You know that they wanted me to be the guy to go and represent for everybody, and that was super sick. And I'm so
Good.
stoked, dude. If it wasn't me, I just needed it to be a skateboarder. That's all I
Yeah.
needed. You know, I just like please let it be a skateboarder. You know, but
Uh,
I'm so thankful and like I can't even put into words how thankful I am for everybody, grouping together because it was the whole country, man. It wasn't
yeah.
just like, my hometown or just, the homies or it's people I'd never met before hitting me up and strategizing for me and telling me, hey dude, I think this would be a good idea and stuff like it was wild
Well,
the
your
way that everybody
skateboarding shines. Your skateboarding shines. It does. It put you in a place, and that place was good. And that's
thank,
amazing. That's
thank
so
you.
cool. One thing I want to talk about is you have a epic slam.
The one.
That you have one of the most epic slams, and that's crazy. If no one's ever checked that out, that was like you falling into a basement. Uh,
Yes, dude.
it
It
was
was
how did you survive that, sir?
So I think I honestly only thing I can think of is like I kind of had an idea that that could happen because my homie that tried before for some reason said, "Hey Mike, whatever you do, don't fall into that hole." And so my brain was already like, "Hey dude, like I didn't even think of that being a possibility, but if that happens, what are you going to do?" You know? And so like I kind of had an idea in my head of what I needed to do to survive if that happened.
The
And
little roll helped. You
dude,
kind of
it did.
rolled.
It
Yeah,
did. So first thing I was going to try to do was spread my body out enough to not fall in the hole to maybe catch
amazing.
myself. And when I
Yeah.
noticed that it was just bouncing my legs off and that wasn't going to work, the next thing I did was I basically took my shoulder and like just turned it and put my elbow on top of my head. And so when I landed with all my impact on the bottom right here of my
Yeah, you
elbow.
could see that was all blown out. So that was
Right.
actually you helmeted yourself with your elbow. Well,
Absolutely.
that was a pretty
Yeah.
good move.
Dude, and everything's just spinning and moving and like you can't really see too well, you know what I mean? But it's also in
Yeah,
like slow motion. It felt like it took me, a minute to hit the ground. So being able to get that elbow there definitely saved my noggin, I think.
sure.
But it blew out my shoulder pretty good.
For me,
So
man, it was crazy to see that.
yeah.
That was one I was like, whoa, and put on repeat for a while. I was like, man,
Yeah.
but
It
shoot, I'm glad nothing else came out of that.
right. I
Uh,
mean, dude, honestly though, like still sleeping and everything, man, I feel it. I can't lie about that. That's still an injury that I feel over all the other ones to this day. I still feel that one.
I have two things wrote down by that. You must be a gymnastic trainer, and that you are the Terminator. So,
Made out of a little bit of metal, maybe so. Maybe so.
right on. Your home is in Georgia, and we've been seeing a lot of footage from your Georgia parks around there.
Absolutely.
You raised so much money? Are they giving some of that back to a park in Georgia?
So that's what so when I was doing this, I was hoping that that was going to be the case. Um and right now what I understand is basically I would have to get the city to get in touch with the people from the skate park project, and then they would have to come to some kind of agreement on what they're going to do with that. And the city's got their own plans, and the skate park project isn't just going to step in and say something to the city without the city saying something to them. So it's kind of just like a back and forth
Yeah.
until we can make the connection happen type
Hmm.
deal. I would really love for that to be the case, that it is one in Georgia, that gets made. But I know for a fact, regardless, it does go to skate parks getting made somewhere. So
Yes,
that's a
yes, I
good
do.
thing,
Yeah,
So that's at least a good thing. It may not be in the hometown, it may not be in the home state, but somewhere where kids need it, they'll be getting a skate park. But we do
he's
need one in
brought
our hometown.
he's brought one to my hometown.
That's so sick. Such a good dude, man. So thankful he's doing the things he is to give back to.
I've met him too. He's an amazing dude. He's really
That's
cool,
so
down to
sick.
earth guy. You know.
Yeah. And I just love the fact that like I feel like he knows like he didn't have all of these ways to maybe get a skate park by his house, or like you know what I mean, or like
Yeah. If you
he
go
just
back and listen to old Jeremy Klein interviews, he talks about when Tony was editing for him and he was penniless. You know, he was
right.
just finding his way to get to where he needed to be, and at that time he was doing editing, just wanted to be a part of the filming and the editing. It
Right.
shows that his passion was there. And now look at him. He blew up so big that he's everywhere. He's
Yeah,
everywhere.
for sure.
It's well deserved. And it is for you too. Your skateboarding is just amazing, and I'm hoping to see more.
For
Uh,
sure, man.
uh,
You
I know sometimes you have to be stockpiling piling a little bit of footage back. I know you have to.
always have to be.
Yes.
There's and especially doing skate it and rate it now too. I don't know. I don't know you've seen some of those episodes and stuff, but now that I'm doing that, I try to have a couple episodes in the chamber too. You know what I mean? Because I can't just go out all the time and be at skate parks, and I can't go out and skate all the time. I got a job, more than one job. I work a couple jobs, and then I also take care of my kids too. So it's like there's no way to be out every day, anymore on a skateboard. I wish there was, but I get maybe 2 days in a week. But trying
I,
to get a episode in and then street skating and then we're doing it, but it's tough.
I believe it would have to be. It's one thing that I admire about you because it rounds you out so much to take care of a family, to have work and still find time to put out bangers is something that I think it eliminates a lot of people out of skateboarding.
For sure. For
And
sure.
and you do it so well. And
Thank
you
you,
put
man.
you put music in there and you're always a treat to see, and you're always I would love to see your board out there so I can get it in right here in my
Man,
collection.
dude. That's such a dream, dude. And I'm praying one day, it comes about, but
You
I'm just
got
gonna stick
somebody
to it.
on your side.
Thank you, man.
If there's any way we can get this done, I want to get it done.
That's so
You
sick, man.
deserve this.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That means so much to hear that. Like you're just out there for all those hours. You know how skateboarding is. All those hours you put in by yourself that nobody sees, or and you're just out there trying to get that one trick sometimes and everything like that.
Yeah,
And just to hear somebody say, "Hey,
it's
man,
real.
it's paying off," that's so
Uh,
cool.
One thing I heard you talk about in the past was we're a little bit older, so we came from the non-cell phone era,
Yeah,
and today's kids can just pick up a phone and just I and get any kind of footage at any time. And I've talked to
exactly.
a few older guys that say that it takes the heart out of a lot of the things that we struggled for as kids, like all
Right,
those hours. But sometimes I still find myself filming just as good skateboarding as I want it to be without filming. Just
right,
me skateboarding.
right.
Sometimes you flip the camera on and I get a little nervous maybe, or just
For
know
sure.
it's there. Just know it's there. So to not be able to film is good too. It
For
is.
sure. You got to remember that it's all about fun, for sure. You know what I mean? Like if
Definitely.
you're not having fun with it, why are you doing it?
Definitely.
There's no point because you're gonna get hurt. You know what I mean? You're gonna
You're gonna get hurt.
you're gonna be tired. You're gonna I don't know. You're gonna be sweaty. Like there's so many things that are just not fun about it if you don't like it.
That's right.
And you have to love it to do it. I feel like.
It separates
And
a lot of people. It does.
yeah,
If you're in it to win it, you're in it.
yeah. And as
I'm a
far as the
lifer.
filming, yeah, I feel like it does take a little bit away because there's more filming. It's like there's more footage out there. It's so oversaturated, right? And
Yes, yes.
everybody's out there. But all that is just we had our little celebrities when we were younger, and we
Hmm.
idolized those people, and the cameras got around them and took care of them, and that's what made them big. That doesn't mean that they were the best skaters out there. They were just the best
That's
ones
right.
we were seeing. And now you
That's
see
true.
everybody. So
That's
now,
true.
everybody has an equal opportunity almost, which is kind of cool in a way.
Well, we're lucky. We're lucky to have that in our era, to
Yeah,
have that much information and to see it. I think it helps our progression.
it does. We're all better than we were back then, whether we want to admit it or not. We've learned things that we would have never even thought of trying back then because we never seen them before or anything like it. We didn't even know a board could do some of the things that they're doing right now. A lot of the fully flared stuff, that right there
Mhm.
was crazy to me. I'd never seen anything like that until fully flared came out. I didn't even know skating could be like that, where you could put out a
Right.
whole part on a ledge. I thought you had to jump down stuff like big handrails and big stair sets like zero to make it.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and then you start seeing that and it changes your whole. Now look at curb skating.
Yeah,
People,
slappy skating is it's at 100% now. Now there's Willie's took over Willie Santos with the Curb Wars, and now you had just Sharik and Shannon and Tommy Sandoval, And if you haven't seen that one yet, it's pretty good. Mine
Right.
was my favorite was Ace Pelka and Bev Up.
Yeah.
That episode was
It's
amazing.
incredible how just everything they can do on one. But back then, 20 years ago, if you had sent in a curb part, they would have been like, "What is this dude doing?" You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Where's his handrail footage?
yeah,
Where's his flip tricks down the stairs? And now it's like completely different, which I love. I think it's great.
sure.
But
Pressure flips are the same way.
yeah,
Old forbidden tricks that now are coming back around and tricks that really I grew up with. So now to do a 360 pressure flip to me is no problem. And half the people I do it in front of, they don't even know what it is.
right. They think it's a 360 under heel a lot of times, or they think it's
Right.
a non pop tray flip.
Yeah, sure. I get a lot of I do a lot of tricks that I think are niche tricks that were from my time. A lot of
Yeah,
late shove-its, a lot of impossibles.
I'm
I just
jealous,
love
man.
that old stuff.
I want to learn impossibles. I'm gonna have to just get out there one day and practice and practice and practice until
You
I get
come
them
down
right.
this area, you come down this area before you leave, you'll be having them.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
That's the truth.
I need all the trick tips I can get on that one for sure.
Shoot, we all do. Well, impossibles there. It's one of those things like a pressure flip. Once you do it once, you got it.
That's what I think too. I'm just waiting for that one, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
that 1 foot placement and that one scoop. There's different ways. If you go back and watch people do it back in the New Deal days, they would put their front foot way up on their nose.
Ah,
That was like a key to a trick to do that impossible to start. But I don't do that now. I got to have my feet placement just like I'm going to do a kick flip or an ollie
okay.
or I try to I try to keep all my feet in the same area to do a trick and to land, even
Yeah,
my tray flips and stuff, except for heel flips.
I get that.
Heel flips, I do have to adjust my front foot a little bit higher, but not really nollie heel flips. I can keep it pretty
Yeah.
straight.
I have crazy foot
But man,
placement on everything because I'm too tall.
me too. I could talk about tricks and placement for tricks and doing tricks all day.
For sure. For sure.
It's one of my favorite things to
For
do.
sure.
And sometimes when I watch your tricks and I see what you're doing, it just blows my mind, man. And I like to thank you for taking the time and talking to me today.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you calling me. I've had a great time so far, man. It's good to kind of nerd out on skateboarding sometimes, right? I love
Sure.
it.
Well, I can bring the nerd at any
Dude,
time.
I can too all the time. But talking to people who don't skate, you feel like you're talking to a wall, right? You can't even have those conversations because it's like they don't understand that, right? So it's sick to
Yeah,
have that conversation, especially once you get older. You don't have as many friends around that are skaters, or even at work. At school you used to be able to like kind of click up with your skaters and talk about it, but it isn't that way anymore.
yeah. Yeah, when you get older, you lose homies and you find yourself m- kind of on the outside
For
sometimes,
sure.
even when you go to the skate park. You're a little bit older. A lot of the kids, it's weird times, but skateboarding breaks down so many barriers that it only takes a few tricks or maybe a little bit of heart for the kids to be like, wow,
Right.
that's amazing.
Right.
And then you got friends for
For
life,
sure.
regardless of color, regardless of financial status. Skateboarding breaks down these barriers to bring people together to where you can have a friendship and a kinship for life.
Absolutely. I love it, dude. There's a
Yeah,
lot of people that
I
still
do too.
skate from when I was kids that, have moved to other states and stuff like that, and they'll still cruise around, but absolutely still best of friends, with all of them. So that's how
Sure.
skateboarding is. It's hard to not like another skateboarder.
Yeah, that's so true. Now, you might not like their style, but when it comes to the person, it's just
Right.
there. If you're a skateboarder and you know what it takes to do anything or how hard it is to do tricks, as a skateboarder, we're crazy to the point where we will do the
For
trick.
sure. Whether we get
We
dehydrated
will.
trying it, whether we can't walk the next day, whether, whatever it takes, we'll get it.
We will get broke off and do
That's
the
right.
trick if we have to come
Yeah.
back.
Put it on the schedule.
Hey, man, much love to you and your
Thank you, brother.
family. You
Right back
take
at you,
care.
man.
You take care, and, hopefully, we can talk
That
more in
sounds
the
perfect,
future.
brother. You hit me up anytime, okay? Thank you for everything, man. You
Thank you,
take
man.
care. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Later.
Later, buddy.